Sagittarius. Thanks for joining me. It's Jen here from tarotspirit.net, and today I'm going to be doing a 2018 overview. Wow. Um, and I'm going to pull basically a card for each month, but I'm going to look at it more um, in quarters. So, and I decided to use a different deck for each quarter to see if there are any repeating cards. Whoops. And if that will, because that may show some bigger themes, overall themes for the year. So the first deck I'm using is the Mystic Dreamer Tarot. And let's just look at the bottom of the deck too for grins and giggles. And Sagittarians are kind of lucky because our solar return in the new year and the winter solstice, which can be seen as like a turning point, all happen around the same time. So it really is a good time for us to set our intentions for the new year, because it really sort of all fits with the same time period. So I guess I'm less a fan of I like New Year's Eve resolutions, but more in a positive way than like, oh, I need to lose weight, I'm going to lose weight, or I'm going to, more like finding something that carving out time for something you're interested in doing, and trying to put a really positive spin on it and making it really manageable, breaking it down into really small bites so that you can be successful instead of, oh, I want to lose 20 pounds. That can be a pretty, it's easy to get discouraged with sort of a big goal like that. So if you do have a big goal, I would suggest phrasing it in a really positive, whoops, okay, well, those just came out, a really positive way, and count all your wins and break them up into small bites that you can really be successful. Okay. I wonder if we had any repeating cards. Let's see if I can see quickly. Well, we have 2 9 of Cups, so if you're going to have repeating cards, that's an awfully good one to have. 2 Knight of Cups, I'm seeing quickly. Those are the only ones I'm noticing, but that doesn't mean there aren't more, and they're just not catching my eye. So let's just jump right in. So at the bottom of the deck for January, February, and March, the first quarter of the year, we have this 9 of Cups. And so the fact that I already see the 9 of Cups coming up in what June is, I would say this is to really set your intentions on what you want to bring into your life, what you're wishing for. And of course, you always hear, be careful what you wish for. And that has a real negative spin to it. But I think I would say, just like what I was just talking about, is to be really positive and open with what you're hoping for. For example, I want my dream job. And I guess the power of attraction would tell you to be incredibly specific, but I guess I feel like getting what you wish for, sometimes we do get what we wish for, but it's not exactly the way we envisioned it, so we sort of miss it or don't appreciate it as much. So I would say, this is the job I want, but I'm also open to whatever the universe thinks, because you may not realize what your dream job is. So I like to keep it a little bit open-ended so that you're open to whatever may come your way. Right off, if you do, it's interesting, the 3 of Swords, so maybe healing, having a healthy relationship this year. And I do see the 2, we did have double Knight of Cups, so I do see that as as something that may be coming our way. This, I say our because I'm a Sagittarius rising and sun sign. So right off, we're starting off the year in January of 2018 feeling really secure, really grounded. You maybe, I mean, in the northern hemisphere and up north in the U.S., it's winter, so I'm in Vermont, so this is a time when I would probably be inside a little more than usual. But I get a really comforting, like curling up by the fire, nurturing, really that feeling of home with her. I think we're also going to be um, more on top of our finances. We're going to be feeling more financially secure and even making a plan, making like a budget. I've actually been I'm a Sagittarian who does not balance their checkbook. I mean, I know what I'm spending. I know what I look at my bank account. I know what's going on, but I don't keep penny. I don't, look penny for penny. I just I'm just have a sense of it, a good sense of it, but a sense of it. But I have been I've opened up another account, a savings account. Um, I have been more financially, uh, finances have been more on my mind. That's what I'm trying to say. So this resonates with me of really starting to budget for things. I have a kid that's going to need to go to college, um, all sorts of those things. So I feel like we're this feeling of really being super practical and grounded during that time of Capricorn, which is a real an earth sign trait. Maybe maybe some of you guys will be fixing up your home, maybe doing some painting or some sort of decorating or trying to make your house really feel like your home. Um, and even settling down some, like maybe if you've been in a place for a long time, it's like you're actually going to start hanging pictures on the wall and settling in and really feeling like, okay, I'm going to stay here for a while. This is good. Um, but really on top of sort of managing our day-to-day things, our day-to-day practical, getting the oil changed, all those maintenance things, like really being on top of everything. So it's a really secure, good feeling starting out the year. And then moving into February, we have, I feel like this theme of passion, this theme of romance, and this theme of, um, I think after, Saturn's finally moving away, and which really is that Queen of Pentacles, like we've really learned some great lessons. Like it's like you hate to admit it. It's like that teacher that pushed you really, really hard, and it was so hard to get a good grade, and you felt like no matter what you did, it never was good enough. But then you realize after, like, man, as much as that kind of sucked, she or he really taught me a lot. Like taught me things that will stay with me for the rest of my life, and you almost begrudgingly have to admit that it was really good for you, and you can, and then as you get older and stuff, you can appreciate, like, that was a tough teacher, but boy were they a good teacher, and I'm a better person for it. And I really think that that's a Saturn energy, and I think it's like we're coming out of it and we're starting to um, feel more freed up and more confident in what we can accomplish. And I see this Knight of Wands is getting our fire back, getting our mojo back. It's really also definitely can be a card about meeting someone that you're really passionate about. Like there's this chemistry, this instant chemistry. Now, the Knight of Wands, it's a fire. It's like putting a pine bough on a fire. If you've ever done that. I'm a country girl, so if you haven't spent time around a campfire, you probably like, what the hell are you talking about? But if you put like drier pine needles on a fire. They just go up like crazy and it lights everything up, but it burns out really, really fast. And that's sort of this energy. It can ignite very, very fast, but it can also burn out. Um, so one thing we always fire signs always have to be working on is making sure we have managing expectations and not getting so overexcited that we create a false sense of how awesome it's going to be that we're not instantly like, okay, that was harder than I thought, or that wasn't as great as I thought. Like, and understanding that that level of enthusiasm and inspiration and excitement, it may not be realistic to think it will stay at that level. And just some kind of sometimes acknowledging that and understanding that, but also working on maintaining that level of enthusiasm as much as you can without getting discouraged, is a lesson of this card. But there's some shift in passage in passion, some shift. This could be a work, a job offer, a change in job, a change in how we earn our money, and just also can be really finding something new that inspires us, that we're passionate about, that we want to try. We could all of a sudden take up running. You could all of a sudden um, get obsessed with astrology. It could be literally anything, and something that really you're excited about and brings a lot of joy into your life. And again, that could be a um, a romance as well. Then in March, we have this Two of Pentacles, and this really just says to me that March is going to be a little busy. You may be doing some traveling. There are often a lot of holidays around in March, um, and you could just have a lot going on, juggling a lot. Maybe have gotten a little too over ambitious with that Knight of Wands, um, and overextending ourselves, or just feeling super busy. I definitely see maybe some of you are going to go on a cruise. I mean, there are these ships out here, but I think it's just a good time to remember that times like there are times when we're quite busy, running kids around. You feel like you get up, you go to work, you come home, and you're exhausted, and you just lather, rinse, repeat, and you're just doing the same thing, but you don't get anything done. Um, those times are usually temporary, and if you're feeling like it's not temporary, it's a good time to sort of do a check-in and, okay, where exactly am I spending all my time? What am I doing? What can I let go so I still have time to do this new thing that excited me in the month of February? So that's just a little bit of kind of mundane everyday life happening in March. Not necessarily bad or anything. It's just sort of the way it is sometimes. I just realized we have two pages of wands, which is lovely. We have three knights, which is change and new beginnings are the pages and messages, and so that's lovely. So moving into the next quarter with April, May, and June, at the bottom of the deck for those cards, we have the Five of Cups. So I do feel like I'm adding another layer to that Two of Pentacles, is that, if Saturn taught us anything, is to really buckle down and be super practical, right? And when you're looking at things through that lens, you have to think, okay, what responsibilities are truly mine, and which ones are not. And you may need to let some things go. You may need to let some relationships go. You may need to let resentment and frustration over something that didn't go right go. And now I'm thinking of this in the terms of this romance theme I'm seeing and feeling in this year. You may need to let go of some resentment and baggage from past relationships that you didn't even realize you were still holding on to. So that's something you may really want to consider as you're heading into 2018. What were my past relationships like? Um, Doing some symbolic cord cutting and really, really being careful and thoughtful that as you enter new experiences, whether they're relationships, jobs, things like that, you're not infusing past experiences into the new situation that don't really belong there. That's more just our story and the lens we view because of this experiences we have. And I think it's sometimes like a fight or flight reflex where like, oh, that person was horrible to me, so any little sign of anger is a red flag, and it may very well be. So I'm not saying um, don't to ignore red flags, but to just be careful that we're not adding a layer that isn't there yet as well. So it's a tricky balance. I don't have um, any particular words of wisdom on that, but it's just something to be mindful of. So in April, we have this wonderful Page of Wands. So again, this getting your mojo back, this something you're passionate about. This could be news about work. So if you decided in February that you wanted, maybe you've been single, you're ready to date, you want a new job, you're interested in starting your astrology, like I talked about, or whatever. Obviously, insert whatever comes to your mind. These are general readings, but this is where you get news about it. Maybe this is where you start dating someone. This is where you get your new job. You get the interview. You find a group of people that share this interest, and you actually start really tangibly making it happen in April. So it's lovely. And again, Northern Hemisphere, this is when spring starts. And so it's really, people start getting frisky and excited. And it's a really fun, nice energy where it's like you're excited for this new beginning, excited for new things to come in. In May is the High Priestess. So this is the first major arcana. And we only have two other major arcanas. So not a whole lot. I think we've done a lot of, again, our major lessons the last few years with Saturn. Doesn't mean we're not always learning them, but I do feel overall a lighter energy for us going into in 2018. So in May, this High Priestess, this is a card. She's kind of she's a complex archetype. She's very wise. She really listens to her intuition and her own counsel. She's learned to trust herself, trust her gut feeling. We were kind of talking about that before, and knowing like when to trust her gut feeling and when it's just maybe her emotions getting the best of her. She's done a good job learning to balance that out. She can crop up in a couple different scenarios. One, if you have a gut feeling about something or someone, this card is saying to really trust that. But it's also telling you to keep your own counsel, to examine your own motives and look within. If you're considering starting something, I have this theme that we're thinking of starting some new adventures this year. Be careful who you share it with, because not everyone's going to see your vision. I'm getting my arms stuck on these cards. Not everyone may share your vision, and they may, whether we we think we're strong. I don't care what people think. They may kind of take the wind out of your sails. So if you have an idea, like I started this YouTube channel, I lots of people don't even know I have it just because and a few people I told and I knew they would be like whatever. Like I said to one person a long time ago, this was a guy friend of mine that I'd finally gotten like, I don't know, 3,000 subscribers. And he's like, "Well, one of them's not me." Ha ha ha. Which was kind of funny. But it's like, he thinks it's stupid. Should I even told him? I don't know, whatever. But I mean, I kind of knew that would be his reaction, but it's just sometimes it's really good to keep your own counsel. So I had to teach this to my son when he was little. Not sharing things that aren't anyone else's business is not lying or being there's nothing wrong with that. You don't need to share things with anyone, really. If it's your business, it's your business, and you don't need to let people know what's going on. I also feel like we may have this feeling at our core that something really good's going to happen. Like our dreams are going to come true. And this excitement about this new way of life, this new thing that's happening, this new way of being. And we're not even maybe really exactly sure how it's going to manifest, but it's almost like like we're vibrating inside. Like, I know you just sense this new energy coming, this new thing coming. So in a way, it's almost in a really positive way, a restless month I'm feeling because we're so like we just know it's coming. We don't even know exactly what, but we just know it's coming. And then we have in June this 9 of Cups. So here's this wish, this dream, this hope for ourselves manifesting in our reading in June. So, whatever you've been hoping for, dreaming for, putting into action, whatever you're letting go, letting go of with that 5 of Cups, excuse me, all of that preparation, all of that work with Saturn the last few years, it all set the stage for this moment. So, really, dreams don't. I love the law of attraction, and I think it's like good practice. But the law of attraction to me only happens if you're still working hard at making your dreams happen. So if you want to be a YouTube star and you don't have a YouTube channel, I don't think that's going to happen. You know what I mean? You have to set yourself up for success. So if you're all of a sudden interested in becoming a yoga teacher, like you need to be doing yoga. You need to be out there. You need to be studying and learning and doing. If you want a new job, you have to get certified if that's such a thing. Take some classes. Really do a great job in your job so you get wonderful references. All of those things. So make sure this whole first half of the year, or whenever you start listening to this video, that you're setting yourself up for success of your dreams this whole time. So moving into July, August, and September, at the bottom of the deck is the Knight of Cups. So I think we may have met this person before if you're open to a relationship. If not, it's most likely in some other area of your life, or maybe these are general readings. Maybe not, these don't resonate for you, and that's definitely could happen being super general readings. But I feel like we sort of, maybe we even meet this person at the beginning of the year. I could even see doing something practical with this Queen of Pentacles if you want to bring in romance this year, of actually like putting a profile online dating, or doing a meetup, going out with friends more, making yourself, again, setting yourself up for success. Getting out there, talking to people. Yeah, I think I'm interested in dating again. You never know who'll be like, oh, really? My cousin, is such and such. My son, my brother, and it just may be. And then later on, like you're like, yeah, you don't think about it, and then somehow it comes back around. And then here's the actual like going out, the offer, the job offer, the you're really starting to feel things shift significantly as we start the second half of the year. You're starting to feel better. You're starting to really, I think we're really gonna be really happy. I guess that's just the simplest way to say it. You really start to feel happy. Um, it's funny. I'm sort of looking ahead here, and it's like it looks like in September we're going to have a little bit of a panic where we're going to self-sabotage a little bit, but it's okay. It's going to work itself out. But that's such human nature, right? To be like, "Oh, I like this person so much," or "I want this job so much," and then it comes through and you're like, you know, "Wait a minute. Do I think they're cute? Do I like them? Do I want this job?" We have that bit of panic, or um it's not going exactly again, here's this being open to what you wish for. It isn't going exactly how we wanted it to, but it doesn't mean it's not working or it's a failure. It's just you're dealing with other people and you can't control that it goes exactly the way you were dreaming and imagining that it would go. So in July we have the Hanged Man, and I really feel like we're realizing that this time around, this new beginning that we're having this year, we really are going to have to approach it from a different way. We're going to have to change our thinking. We can't act the same as we did before, as we have habitually in other jobs, other relationships, how we've dealt with other initiatives in our life. Like, we need to be more mature, which is the gift Saturn gave us, whether we wanted it or not. We need to make sure we're looking from different perspectives before, and not just having our tunnel vision. We're going to be more practical about it. So if we meet someone online, we'll keep with that theme, and they live 1,000 miles away, we're gonna say, you know what? I don't plan on moving. I don't want this person to move here when we don't even know each other. I'm gonna move on. I'm that person seemed nice, but it would really be um, going on potential. And I don't want a long distance relationship. I want someone that's here that I can really get to know without the pressure of, long distance relationships are tough. Um, because it seems like every time one of you travels to see the other one, it's like a mini vacation. And I don't think it's necessarily it's one thing if you had lived together and then one of you moved, that's totally different. But to start a relationship, one person comes to visit, first of all, you're sort of obligated to spend like the entire time with that person that they're there because they're coming to see you, which is, a big commitment when you're just trying to get to know someone. It's not like you can just go for coffee. And then, but it can be super exciting, like a mini vacation, but I don't think it's going to give you a realistic picture of what the day to day is like with a person. And that's really where rubber meets the road, and you figure out whether you're truly compatible or not. Because it's one thing to think someone's attractive and you have great sex or whatever, and yeah, but that's not what makes or breaks relationships. So you're really going to be thinking about all these things, and being able to let things go, whereas in the past, out of like loneliness or fear or insecurity, you may have clung on to. we're more able to stand on our own and say, yeah, that just doesn't make sense for me right now. And maybe if the situation's changed, but I'm not going to tie myself down to someone that doesn't even live in the same time zone as myself. Um, and again, not that everyone's going to have a long distance relationship. That was just an example. And if you meet someone around here, maybe just the same thing. You're going to be really thoughtful about it and not just jump in, even though we have all this hot fire with the Knight of Wands, and here we go, we have the Page of Wands again in the month of, where are we? August. So still this new beginning. It could even be you guys are just out dating and you keep meeting some people, but I really don't think so. I think it's like, maybe it's like we're going to meet someone and then you don't see him for a while, or her, and then they kind of contact you, and then maybe they travel. Maybe they're coming in and out and in and out. So it's like you kind of feel like, yeah, things are going okay, and then they're off again, and maybe you're not sure if you can deal with that. Um, or it's just, maybe you meet someone but they're getting a divorce and you're like, I really want that to be done. Like I really don't want to be caught up in that. I don't want to complicate that situation. I want you to deal with that on your own and feel good about having that wrapped up before I get involved in this situation. Um, and maybe, and that's kind of a weird way to read this card, but I'm just going to go on my intuition here and come back to some other examples. And maybe the person, when you express your boundaries, sort of shut you out for a little, not even in a mean way, but it's like, well, I really need to think about that. I'm not sure about that. And maybe they feel hurt that you're not going to just jump into something with them, which actually is a red flag. But sometimes people just need to process and think about things. I mean, the Pentacle suit is very slow. Maybe there are financial issues. Um, and you kind of feel like, I'm feeling like I got my shit together after Saturn. And this year I'm really feeling good. And I want someone who also has their shit together. I need someone that's financially secure. And it doesn't mean you're going to mooch off them. They have to be rich. But you don't want someone that's bankrupt or losing their job or always complaining about money or whatever. You want a mature person that's can handle themselves, handling their stuff. And so, you may be like, um, you need to have stuff straightened out before we really get going. Yeah, so for some of us, I see it's the same person, and there's this sort of stop and go, stop and go, stop and go. And then I think for other ones of us, we're going to be out dating, and we're going to go through a few people, and not in a slutty way, but in a, this situation, when I was younger, or less experienced, I would have probably just jumped in and thinking, oh, well, they'll move here, or they'll get their stuff together, or whatever, and they're just making excuses and whatever. And now you're just like, yeah, no, this isn't for me. Maybe we meet again at another time, it will work, but I need to go with how someone is right now in the present. I will no longer get into relationships and or stay with someone. So if you are in a relationship, you may be like, this could be resonating you in the sense like, yeah, I'm sick of being with someone who's either always gone, and whether that's metaphorically or they literally are long distance or travel a lot. I don't want someone who's always complaining and worried about money, who's having trouble with their job. Like, I don't want someone, I need someone else who can meet me where I am now. And it may be that you change so much with Saturn in the sun, in our sign, that you're not a match anymore. And that's okay. That doesn't even mean your relationship was a failure. It's just people change and are different, and think the society has to be more open to that, because I think what happens is you get to a point and you're like, wow, this isn't working anymore, and it's like you have to get nasty. We have to blame one another. We have to just crash and burn, and or we can't communicate about it, and we get resentful and snappy, and I don't know. Okay, I'm going to get back to the thing. I don't need to go off on that. So I'm going to just move right on to this, because I feel like that's kind of this what that whole quarter was, the end of the summer there. Um, and then so we're feeling like maybe we had to let someone go, maybe we had to step back, maybe someone you felt like was going to mooch off you, or when you stated your boundary, they kind of was like, whoa, um, good for you, by the way. Then here we go again. In October, here's this night, here's this offer, here's another offer, here's someone else coming in, here's this change again in how we're feeling. So there's this a little bit of like pause and chill, getting really excited, pause and chill, getting really excited, going within, getting excited. It's back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, because here we have this Knight of Cups. Then in November, the Seven of Swords. So this is kind of like, what's up with someone? What's going on? Is someone not treating me well? Is there's some maybe some red flags again? But then we end up the end of the year with everything's balanced out. Everything's any sort of bad behavior like this is either explained, or there's justice. There's validation. I really like to talk about this card as validation. So maybe a couple, if you were the one that's been out dating, and a couple of those people that you were like, I don't think this is going to work out, maybe you really find out like, wow, there was even more than you realized. Like, good for you, you really picked up on that, and good for you for following your intuition and listening to yourself and going with how things are at the present, not how you think things might go in the future. So I feel like we're making really good decisions. We're not settling. And all at the same time, we're working towards this thing that brings joy, that we're inspired. And maybe in some of us, we're like too excited doing other stuff. Like if a relationship's going to get in our way, we're like, I don't think so. Like, I'm sorry, you're cramping my style. And I forgot to read the bottom of the deck for the end of the last quarter of the year. It's the Three of Cups. And this is just being out, being social, being emotionally supported, really sort of living. And like, we're not going to be hiding. We're not going to be sort of licking our wounds, or staying at home. And it doesn't necessarily mean you're out drinking, although this does show, getting out with friends, getting out and meeting people. But it means doing, like, we're going to be much more doers this year. We're not going to be afraid of, and it's not really a Sagittarian trait, being afraid of trying new things and doing new things, but it's not going to be like all enthusiasm and not as much action. Like, we're really going to be out there. Our actions and our words are really going to match. We're going to be out there meeting people, doing things, starting new things, trying new things. And we're just going to keep working away. We're not going to settle. And if something doesn't go the way we want, or we're like, hey, there's something here that's not right, it's like maturity. Oh, okay, well, that's okay. I'm going to keep moving along. It's not the end of the world. It's okay. It doesn't have to. If it doesn't go exactly the way I want, either I can be open to it, or I can say, hey, that's not working, and keep moving on. And it's a strategy this year that's really, really going to work for us. It's really going to pay off. And we're just not living the way we ever have before. We're just much more confident and um, I guess really got our act together. And when you're able to count on yourself and trust yourself to be good with your money, to walk away from situations that are not healthy without the drama or the blaming or the anything or the whole, big you've had those friends that anytime something doesn't go their way, it's like a scene and a half. It's a everyone's fault. It just becomes like it just takes on a life of its own, and it's just like, oh my God, drama, drama, drama. Um, None of that. It's just like very matter of fact, like, yeah, this isn't what I want. This isn't working for me. Moving on. End of story. You're not bad mouthing. You're not doing anything. You're just like, yep, okay. Time to keep moving. Time to keep trying. Um, it's not going to set you into some spiral of downward spiral. Even when someone's um, maybe being sort of nasty or sneaky, it's just kind of like, oh, okay, I see what's going on. I don't allow people to treat me that way. Psh, moving on. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this reading. I love the energy coming through from these cards. I just feel like it's going to be an amazing year where lots of new things and any sort of challenges we're just going to handle like a boss. It's going to be fantastic. We're going to be I think we're going to be really surprised at how mature we are and how maturity really makes life a bit easier. Take care. Bye.